Good morning, Brazil. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, we ask that you subscribe to our social media platforms. We could be found on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook under Frankie Olivo. We're also streaming this on YouTube, where we could be found under Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure that you subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. We will not be silenced. And always remember, I am forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? I do apologize. I am having technical difficulties. For whatever reason, I'm having trouble streaming this show, this segment, this episode on our main page. That is why I've been running late this morning. Currently, right now, we're streaming this on 3 platforms: on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Facebook, on our 4,000 page where we have 4,000 followers. But unfortunately, it's not streaming on our bigger page. So I have to work. It's, again, technology. You can't live with it. You can't live without it. But again, as the saying goes, the circus does not stop for 1 or 2 monkeys. The show must always go on. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting topic. Today we'll be talking about the Republican Party of Cameron County. Not much has happened since their last meeting. It's kind of rare for a party to go on the summer, to go on a few months without meeting. We understand that people travel, but it is the responsibility of those in leadership positions to make sure that the party operates effectively, whether that be during campaign season, off season, or even during the summer. A lot is happening in Austin. We've been talking about how the redistricting of the maps will ultimately have a great effect of what happens, of the players running for different positions in Cameron County, and most importantly, for Congress. We do anticipate that the new maps, that they will be redrawn either today or possibly in the next few days. But this is something that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Many insiders in Austin do anticipate the White House giving the Capitol, giving the legislatures, the GOP leaders, the new maps. Again, President Trump wants to redraw wants to gain 5 seats in the House. How is he going to do that? Well, through the redistricting. Many people have complained. We have the Democratic chairs from here, Corpus, and up the coast, that they have been against this, that they've been vocal. We've heard of their demands for the Rio Grande Valley to have a hearing. Our area, at the end of the day, is home to 1.5 Texans. At the end of the day, when we look at the grand scheme of things, we are just as big as those metropolitan cities. We can't compare ourselves to the likes of Houston and Dallas, but numbers-wise, we can sway an election. Many people have been against the redistricting during the census. Usually, it's done every 10 years during the census. It's hard. It's hard to fathom for many people. How are we doing this during the mid census? But again, a lot is happening. We have been criticized for publishing a map similar to this. We anticipate, ladies and gentlemen, we anticipate that the map will be redrawn for District 34, which is currently held by Congressman Vicente Gonzalez. We do anticipate that the map will be redrawn to favor the Republican Party. And many have anticipated that this map for us will encompass half, if not a large part, of Nueces County. This is what we posted previously. We've been criticized for publishing this proposed plan for redistricting because they say, no, this isn't the map. Well, this is something. This is something that could be a possibility. What's interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that Hidalgo County is not on the map for moving forward. What's going to happen? Is this going to affect several candidates? As of now, we have in this proposed map, we have Cameron, Willacy, Kleberg, all the way up to Nueces County, which is predominantly, once we go up the coast, is predominantly red Republican. So whatever happens in Austin in these next few days, ladies and gentlemen, will ultimately have an effect on what happens here for us locally. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about what has been happening as of late in the Republican Party. Many concerned citizens of the party have been vocal and have voiced their displeasure with the current leadership of the GOP of Cameron. Many people have questioned the leadership of Deborah, jobless Bell, who it seems as if is seeking a higher position moving forward. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be focusing on two important issues. One of them being how they had an emergency meeting during the summer, and also today the party will be having a meeting, an executive meeting to discuss their annual monthly meeting. Many people have asked me, what's going to happen in that meeting? What we have seen from the Republican Party has been how they have openly endorsed and put money into nonpartisan races. Recently, we had the city of Brownsville elections, and we saw how the Republican Party for Cameron County spent hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, to send out mass text messages in support of Democratic candidates. Many people have stated, well, Frankie, you should tell the Republican Party's candidates, hey, if you're looking for money, look no further. The Republican Party will endorse you. Now, while the candidates were victorious for the GOP of Cameron County, many people have criticized them and said, how can we be spending money? Many people have stated, hey, we do not support transplant candidates. They have to be read through and through. What's going to happen today at the Republican Party that will be held in Harlingen at the Revived Church? And I wanted to talk about this in detail, if I may. One thing that we've learned, ladies and gentlemen, is that an emergency meeting was called for. Now, what is interesting to learn from this meeting that was held via Zoom, via Microsoft Teams, was the reasoning behind setting up this meeting. And it seems as if the Republican Party, ladies and gentlemen, seems to hold meetings, emergency meetings, for things that possibly do not seem to be an emergency. What we have learned has been that individuals have criticized the party for holding emergency meetings, quote unquote, to discuss buying shirts. Now, we understand that during campaigns, shirts, posters, campaign material is important. We would expect that the party would focus on more important issues. Before you, I do have the agenda. The agenda of the emergency meeting by the Cameron County Republican Party that was held on July the 9th via Zoom, Microsoft Offices, Microsoft Teams. And on the agenda, 3 matters were discussed. The first matter was discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve and authorize execution of lease agreement with Boca Chica Properties for Cameron County Republican Party headquarters. Item B is discussion, consideration, and possible action for the Cameron County Republican Party to pay for the flight accommodations for Chairwoman Deborah Jobless Bell to attend the RNC training in Lexington, Kentucky in July 2025, and possible hotel accommodations for one night. Agenda item C reads discussion, consideration, and possible action for the Cameron County Republican Party to approve a one-time donation to the Kerr County National Disaster Relief Fund. What is interesting to learn, ladies and gentlemen, is, and what we will be focusing on, is priorities. Now, many people, ladies and gentlemen, will criticize us as being petty. What we have learned from the current leadership at the Republican Party is that they have become something that they have criticized their former predecessors. I can tell you firsthand that they have criticized other parties, the Democratic Party leadership positions, of blocking people on Facebook. Now, we know whenever there's a difference. If an individual has their own personal page, they could run that page however they wish. If they wish to block a certain somebody for whatever reasons, they're entitled to. Candidates as well. Candidates, when they're running for a position, if they win, they can't block people because that page ultimately serves as an avenue in which their constituents, the voters, could follow, could comment, could voice their displeasure. What we learned has been that these people in position, Deborah Jobless Bell, her husband, her mother, her family, they have criticized people for blocking individuals previously when they weren't in the leadership position. I can tell you firsthand, I was blocked from the GOP, the Cameron County GOP page. Now, you might say, well, Frankie, they have their reasons. You're very critical of people and you deserve to be blocked. But again, we go back to the same thing. If individuals block a resident of Cameron County on their personal page, by all means, go ahead and do so. But whenever people block residents, constituents, voters, concerned citizens on a political platform, on a government entity, that is where it is wrong. And I saw this firsthand. What this current leadership has talked bad about the previous administration, everything that they have said about the previous administration, they have slowly become what they have hated the most. If we talk about the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, that I have before you. Now, is this a priority for the Cameron County Republican Party? We can argue that during this time was where Central Texas, the Hill Country, did experience massive floods. Hundreds of Texans, children, lost their lives. Many people are still missing. They have not been found, unfortunately. we can make the argument that agenda item C, the discussion and possible action to approve a one-time donation to the Cook County National Disaster Relief, is of utmost importance. And we could understand why this emergency meeting was held. Again, the Republican Party went the whole summer without having a meeting. Now, you may ask, well, Frankie, it's the summer. But when we talk about our counterpart, when we talk about an individual such as the likes of Jared Hakama is a workhorse. Remember, midterms are right around the corner. What have we seen? Well, during this past presidential election in November, we saw how the GOP painted South Texas red. We saw how predominantly blue Democrat counties, they turned red. What did that do to people like Jared Hakama? Well, it lit a fire under them. They made it their priority that they're going to do everything possible to come out swinging. Because to have South Texas turn red is very shocking. Why? Because for as long as we could remember, border counties usually vote red. Now, I want to focus on these two issues at hand. Agenda items A and agenda item B. The discussion to approve and authorize the lease of a property to make the Republican Party its headquarters. Right now, currently, the Republican Party does not have a place to call home. They are in between the Revived Church in Harlingen. They are between El Torito restaurant here locally in the city of Brownsville. So they don't have somewhere to lay their head, somewhere to say, this is the site, this is the home of the Cameron County Republican Party. Now, I want to go into this a little bit further. I want to talk about the office that they will be renting on Boca Chica. And I also want to talk about this accommodations for the Republican chairwoman to travel to Kentucky for an RNC committee meeting in further detail. Now, what we learned from the meeting that was held on July the 9th, we learned that a motion was brought forth before the party. And if I could lay some context, this meeting was done, it was a cluster for many people. It was a cluster in the sense of the party did send out notice 24 hours in advance. Usually, they give sufficient time. Now, we understand that they titled this an emergency meeting, but individuals were having trouble logging in through Zoom. Now, we're talking about individuals that possibly aren't very familiar with technology. We learned during COVID of how many individuals they had to learn on the fly. Zoom meetings were held for our students. Different businesses, organizations, they held their meetings through Zoom. This meeting on July the 9th by the Republican Party, individuals could not sign in. What they thought was going to be through Zoom was ultimately on Microsoft Teams. I know what you're thinking, Frankie, you're being petty. But again, we have to be considerate of individuals, of our elderly population that isn't in tune with technology. We have to be conscientious of this. Now, while these representatives did appear, these precinct chairs did appear, many people weren't able to. Now, in regards to the Boca Chica headquarters, there was a motion to authorize an agreement on behalf of the Republican Party to rent a location on Boca Chica for $1,300. Many people, many people have questioned this. Now, whenever we think of a headquarters for a political party, we think of a place where individuals can go, possibly sign up to vote, to possibly get campaign material. Maybe they have questions for the Republican Party. Maybe they're on the fence. Again, we saw a shift of voters that used to vote blue Democrat, how they converted into the Republican Party. What have we seen? We have seen that there has been a lot of individuals that have switched parties as of late. And we can name many factors as being the reason for this. Many people have stated that the reasons were that the President Biden and his administration, when we talk about the cost of living, inflation, was unbearable. Many people said, you know what? Gas prices, the war overseas. I'm not in support of the Democratic Party. So a headquarters serves as a big purpose. Why? Because you're putting your flag out there and you're saying, hey, this is where we're going to meet. Usually headquarters is designed in a way for the members to hold their monthly meetings. While there was an approval of this and no members of the Republican Party opposed or against this motion. What is interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that this headquarters that's going to cost the party $1,300 is not going to have enough space to hold monthly meetings. Now, $1,300 is significant money. It really is. When we equate that throughout the course of a year, that's over $10,000. It seems unreasonable to me that these individuals, that they want to rent a property, a location for storage. Yes, you heard me right. They're going to hold campaign material. And the reason that they gave was because the chairperson, the chairwoman, Deborah Jobless Bell, she was stating that her husband, he's ready to use his garage. He wants to get that campaign material out of the way. I know what you're thinking. Frankie, you're being petty. These individuals, that's their home. But whenever someone runs for a position such as a chairperson for a political party representing the county, it comes with sacrifices. When we think of these types of positions, we have to think of the party before oneself. And when we talk about individuals, their predecessors, they took it upon themselves to have campaign material, posters, flyers in their homes. Individuals would gather the members of the party and say, hey, if anybody needs any campaign material, come to my house. During campaign season, come to my house. I have posters. I have flyers. I have business cards. Whatever you need. This has been the norm. My issue with this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the party is spending $1,300 on a location that's not even going to be used for meetings. Now, one can argue, well, it wouldn't be beneficial for the party to hold their meetings in Brownsville at their headquarters when we have representatives from La Feria in northern Cameron County, Harlingen. Well, if that's the case, why are we going into this agreement? Again, can't these $10,000 of rent that's going to be used, can't this be utilized something more beneficial? Now, what was interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, was that the party did discuss of sending a one-time donation to the natural disaster relief. They agreed to $500. Now, we're all in support of individuals that think of others. When we talk about the one-time donation that I have here before you, it states discussion consideration for Cameron County Republican Party to approve a one-time donation for Kirk County national natural disaster relief. The party, of course, is in support of this. There was a motion to approve a contribution of $500. Now, it goes on to state that the chairwoman, Deborah Jobless Bell, does not propose any further than $700 to $800. If the party wishes to contribute more due to the new expenses for the headquarters, Laura Lara suggests to proceed with the original contribution of $500, and should the party wish to make another contribution, it can be done at a later time. So you mean to tell me that the party is going to spend over $10,000 on a location in Brownsville, Texas, Boca Chica, to house campaign material, but they were going to send the relief fund of the flood victims $500? Again, I know what you're thinking. You're being petty, Frankie. You're being petty. Well, what have we learned, ladies and gentlemen? What have we learned from the likes of this individual? Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, Deborah Jobless Bell, it seems as if she is using her position as the Cameron County chairwoman for the Republican Party for greener pastures. And this is something that we see in every politician. She's been criticized by her own party. It said they have said that it appears that this young lady, that she has a lot of personal ambition. They're saying she isn't even letting the grass grow under her feet. Now, why? Why is the party okay with it? Why is the party okay with Deborah Jobless Bell traveling to the likes of Kentucky? When we talk about the agenda goes on to read discussion and consideration and approval to pay for the flight accommodations for chairwoman Deborah Bell to attend the RNC training located in Lexington, Kentucky on July 29th. What's today, ladies and gentlemen? Today is July 29th, the day that the Republican Party will be holding its meeting and possible hotel accommodations for one night. So essentially, Deborah Bell will not be present at the meeting today. The agenda goes on to say the chairwoman was selected out of 2 Texas county chairs to represent Texas on the national level at Kentucky at the RNC training, and this will also allow present an opportunity to represent Cameron County. The chairwoman will be preparing a presentation and summary of the RNC training to present to the state. The RNC will pay for the lodging and hotel accommodation. The chairwoman is requesting that the party pay for airfare. There was a motion of $1,500, which was upped. There was an amended motion for $2,000 to cover all expenses, including airfare and any other expenses that may arise. Must be nice. But when we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the Republican Party and the chairwoman, her own party is criticizing her. They went on the record and stated that's ridiculous. She can fundraise for herself like any office holder. We checked with the party to see if the former chairwoman, did she ever take a dime from the party to pay for her own travel? Also, we need to talk about what training is she trying to get. At the end of the day, the Secretary of State's the primary training is the only required training, and that is paid by the Secretary of State. Room, mileage, room and board. Now, again, if we talk about the executive meeting, the emergency meeting back on July the 9th, 3 weeks ago, she had the party attend via Zoom. Now, why was this done via Zoom? We understand it was an emergency hearing. There was talks of her being in Tennessee with family. She's been criticized because people have said, Frankie, we have to give a reason. If we can't appear in person to the hearings, to the monthly hearings, we have to give an excuse, a reason why I'm not appearing and why I'm requesting to appear via Zoom. Now, her own party reached out to me and said she can attend Zoom trainings if she can't afford to do her job. Most county chairs throughout the state of Texas, they do this on their own dime. Most county chairs do the job at a loss. When we talk about the Republican National Committee, they don't train county chairs. What she's wanting to do is she's wanting to go to an RNC event and have somebody else pay for it. Must be nice. Must be nice. There is literally zero that they will do up there outside of networking that she can't do in the state of Texas or here locally. At the end of the day, this is all about her rubbing elbows. It's all about her. So essentially what's happening is that the RNC training that requires going to Kentucky is not beneficial to South Texas. It's not beneficial to Cameron County. The concerned citizen went on the record and stated she's exploiting the Cameron County Republican Party's ignorance, and she's showing them how a grift works. Not my words. They asked me to contact somebody at the RNC to determine what this training consists of. I didn't have time to do so. Essentially, what happens is they don't call anything RNC training. It's always a lot more specific. Was it left out on the agenda on purpose? Possibly. Possibly because there is no need to travel. But this concerned citizen said, Deborah Jobless Bell strikes me odd. When we think of Deborah Bell and how she got to this position, she did post, which I thought was hilarious, and maybe I should share it. Let's go ahead and share it very quickly. She did share her year, the things that she's accomplished, which, to me, it didn't make sense, but hey. Let's see. Let's go visit. Come on. Okay. I'm going to share this. Copy the link. Okay, copied. Okay, I got it. Now, I'm going to show you what she says that she's done for the party. Do I have it? Yes. Okay, good. Let's, if you could help me put it up. Thank you so much. Share screen, window. There we go. Earlier this month, or earlier this year, I apologize. Earlier this year, she did post. Today marks the 1 year since the constituents of Cameron County chose me to lead the local Republican Party. Thank you for your trust and support. I do not take it for granted. Together with an amazing team and support system, we have grown the local Republican Party by fundraising. What fundraiser is that? They're not going to have the Lincoln Reagan Ball until February, if that even happens. Social media presence. What social media presence? Nobody outside of the party knows about their page. They created an interactive website. I don't know about a website. Maybe y'all can help me with this. They've set up committees to meet party growth needs. Engaging with the community, mostly monthly through variation initiatives, monthly meetings, not during the summer, Deborah. Voter guide and GOTV outreach. Set up a monthly newsletter, countless media's interviews to promote our platform, and the list goes on and on and on and on. It seems as if, ladies and gentlemen, this trip to Lexington, Kentucky is none other than a ploy to get Deborah Bell a higher position, a higher spot. And when we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about how she got here, well, she got here because of Mayra Flores. Mayra Flores. She wrote the coattails of Mayra Flores. Mayra Flores was actively campaigning for Deborah Bell. If it wasn't for Mayra Flores, Deborah Bell would not have gotten into this position. And you know how they say, ladies and gentlemen, that the biggest, what do they say? Women's biggest critics are other women. We started this program on how we anticipate that in the next few days, if not today, we will see the new redrawn map for District 34, which we anticipate will be in favor of the Republican Party. Many people anticipate, hey, Vicente Gonzalez might retire. Vicente Gonzalez might go back to District 15 to go up against Monica de la Cruz. The Democrats, they're worried. Congressman Vicente Gonzalez is worried about this map. What have we also learned about this map? Is that Mayra Flores, there's a strong possibility that Mayra Flores might come back. What is interesting to learn is that it seems as if everyone has turned their backs on Mayra Flores, from Deborah Bell, from Susan for the Corrupt, from her former team. They are now supporting either Bam Bam or Eric Flores out of Hidalgo County. Deborah Bell just got word that there is a possibility of Mayra Flores coming back. And this is going to start a cat fight. Deborah Bell is one of those individuals, these rookies that loves the limelight. Well, guess who's going to take her limelight? Mayra Flores. Why? Because everyone knows who Mayra Flores is. And in a room, they're not even going to pay attention to Deborah Bell. Now, why is Deborah Bell going to Lexington, Kentucky? Why are they spending money on her? It's to rub elbows. Why? because she has other aspirations. She has personal ambition. Is there, Frankie, you're being petty. There's nothing wrong with that. You're right. People do want to progress, but she's using this as a stepping stone, the way many politicians do it. But if you're going to do this, do it on your own dime. That's what bothers me. This is all a photo op. This is for her to say, oh, look what I'm doing. Look where I'm at. Why is the party spending money on her to travel? She could fundraise just like any office holder. But this, according to the concerned citizen, is her making fun of the party. A one-term chair is running for office already, Frankie? That is a joke. That's what they said. I asked them, can I put this on the record? They said, please do so. And also include, Frankie, that she's exploiting the ignorance of the Republican Party, and she's showing everybody how a grift works. It is no secret that the Republican Party is looking good moving forward. We talked about how in the next few days, the map will be redrawn and will be released. It's going to get leaked. What is it going to show? That it's going to be favorable to the Republican Party. What's going to happen when Maida comes back? It is word that Maida and Deborah aren't seeing eye to eye. At the end of the day, Deborah used Maida. And now that she didn't need her no more, so it's going to be interesting when Maida comes back. Because who's going to take the aura from the room? Maida. Nobody's going to pay attention to Deborah Jobless Bell. We have a one-term, a rookie in office. And she's already planning and running for the next office. Say it ain't so. But now, my friends, now you know the rest of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. Good Morning Bronzo will come on to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in. Once again, my name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Bronzo. Peace!